Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the SPL. My name is F. Joined here by Hindu Man, the pen stealer.
Once again, I've not stolen your pen.
That's
God,
my
this
pen,
guy
man.
just keeps going about this pen. Have it, fine, whatever.
Thank you.
Don't care that much. Welcome back, though. We've already done EU today. We've got North America on the way for you. We're starting things off with AFK up against eLevate.
Yeah, so we've got the sort of the top end of the North American scene against eLevate, some of the newer players trying to make their mark in the Pro League. So we'll see how eLevate really stands up to the test of playing against AFK. But there are the faces, the new people, the new faces of
most of the faces.
eLevate.
Most of the faces unrelinquished there. Silent Assassin, we don't even see his picture, but they're currently 0-6 in the Pro League. In fairness, they've had a rough start against Eager and TSM, with two of the teams they had to face.
Right.
But one of them was against Enemy as well, which they dropped to set 2. AFK, though, they're the opposite end of the spectrum, 6-0.
Yeah, very, very, very strong team here at AFK. No surprise there to a lot of people that have been following the league all year long. They're the team that really took away the spring finals, and they looked strong ever since then. It's funny. Before the spring split back in Season 1, this team was perpetually a third-place team. They were always just almost making it to LAN or just almost making it to the finals.
And there's some adaptations to the squad, and getting themselves together has brought them now to a top contender, seen as one of the best teams in North America, AFK Gaming. They're in a great spot right now. Already defeated Cloud9 in the first set of the season, followed up with some pretty decent wins against other opposition too.
What really did it for this team, in my opinion, is the chance that the team got to accept their identity. Once they understood that Kiki is fantastic when in the spot to sort of create utility rather than try and carry out of a hard carry role. Once they accepted that reality, all of a sudden the team transformed and we started seeing wins.
And the pressure from the team has just worked out well for them. Weekend's been involved a lot in the solo lane this split, at least, for putting the pressure on there and allowing Cyclone Spin to get himself online as quicker than usual to an extent. Because normally we see Cyclone do well on his own when he gets to the teamfight stage. But now with Weekend's help, well, he's getting there quicker.
Exactly. And that's really the cornerstone of this team. Very much so like the rest of these teams you'll see in the SPL. It is a team game. All 5 parts really come together to form the whole, but Cyclone Spin is the spotlight player for good reason. He comes out a lot and just winds up being the hard carry, the absolute backline of this team.
Now, these two teams as well, the next opposition for AFK is against TSM on Friday. So this will be sort of a warm-up game, so to speak, for them to make sure they're in stride, ready for the big potential contenders of them in the top 4 of NA.
We'll take a look at how eLevate takes on AFK right now as we get into the picks and bans of game number 1. And on the left side of your screen, you'll see Team eLevate. They're the ones with the first pick, first ban. So normally speaking here in this current meta, Hindu Man, Al Kwang is really the go-to character for those in the first pick position.
We've seen a lot of Al Kwang or Bellonas because Al Kwang, people realize the potential, so he's been banned away most of the time. Normally folks to Bellona or even Giannis as being one of the top contended picks so far this season. Geb's taken off the table by eLevate early on though, which generally means they're taking a small shot at Incon. But Incon, well, his god pull is deep in that support role. It's going to be difficult to ban him out completely.
Exactly. Geb does bring the shield to the table, which is a little bit different than some of the other supports. It nullifies some certain sort of crowd controls and can be difficult to play around because of it.
And as you said, there's the Al Kwang ban. It's been banned or picked majority of the time, and generally from the second pick team, AFK will not allow it to slip through to the team of eLevate. But now eLevate, well, a lot of potential targets available for them to ban away here. Will they look at another support to focus onto Incon? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that they will. We're going to see the Freya ban out again. Geb, as I said, a little bit different. Basically, some teams will just ban the Sylvanas and leave the Geb. Other teams will ban the Geb and leave the Sylvanas. And it's all about, do you want to play against the sustain? Do you want to play against the shield and the CC immunity, etc.? So eLevate opts to get rid of Geb, and Freya, just a hard carry.
Well, it's just a shot at Allied as well, right?
Oh,
Played it already this season, had a good season on it so far. Let's hurt the duo lane a little bit. Let's not make it so safe for them if they can help it. And AFK, given the respect of Fenrir banned out as well. Fenrir been one of those that has been around, not fully banned as a total first bannable god, but we have seen some play more in North America than EU, though.
Well, you say not the first pick, first ban god, but it's one of those characters where, sure, it's not the Al Kwang or the Bellona, but if you first pick it, I'm really not surprised. Not only is he very potent with the red pot start that's very popular right now in the jungle, but he can also be played jungle, solo, support, and I mean, A little off-brand, but
Well, he's
he can
also
play the mid.
on top of that as well, though, he is very good against Ratatoska,
Oh,
which is one of
yes.
the picks. Now, with that banned out, AFK do have the opportunity to want to pick that. We've seen Cyclone play it, we've seen Weaken play it. So it is a flex pick for them if they wanted to go down the Rat route, but we've not seen so much of the Rat this season just because of the small changes we made to the Acorns and the dash ability.
Exactly, sort of fallen out of the scene. He was very potent when he first came out, and I don't know, he's more of an annoyance now because he just always gets out. So if you're able to really find the backline and get those kills that you might not otherwise get, and you can escape easily, that's really where the Rat really succeeds. But taking a look at this Serqet, this will most likely be in the jungle. This is actually literally Weaken's sort of namesake. Not his namesake, but his whole branding is on that Serqet
exactly
tail.
one of his big go-tos, and it's one of the first things he really shined on when he joined AFK Gaming. Incon, though, has picked up that Athena more than likely for him in the support role.
Oh, yeah.
And what you'll actually see out of that is the rise of Athena is slowly coming back into this top 3 support category. We've seen a lot of Geb and a lot of Sylvanas for the longest period of time. Athena did slip for a while, but she's starting to make her way back into ground again. Saw it early on today by Kanye. Played very well, very effective with the taunts if you can get them.
I mean, Athena for me is similar to Agni in the sense that she'll never be bad. You have the taunt, which is one of the best abilities in the game, and a global presence with the ultimate defender of Olympus. I really don't think there is any sort of MOBA game where Athena would be a poor choice. So for me, always up top, and yeah, I'm going to agree. Most likely going to be in that dual lane, but don't forget, we did see Kiki play mid Athena once again.
We have, and it could come out from as well. Medusa, though, going to be locked in for eLevate over in that duo lane as well. Pretty safe pick for the most part for them, but it does mean they're going to leave their support option a little bit further down, unless they take a page out of EU's book and run that Bellona there.
Exactly. Bellona has a lot of tools in her kit, similar to Fenrir, sort of ambiguous in the sense that, yes, she's almost the best in the jungle. We do see her more often in the solo, and definitely viable in that support role. Really easy to clear and very scary.
Big safe pick of hi-rez there for AFK. Is that for Cyclone is the question, though, as it's very early on to pick it. Could go to Kiki in the mid lane as well. We've seen it over in NA a few times.
That's what I'm thinking. hi-rez is actually undefeated for Kiki. He's played him 3 times and won all 3 times with a KDA of 3.6. So definitely a character that, it's a newer character in Kiki's God Pool, but one that's been proven very successful.
Well, Humba's taken off the table away from eLevate. They believe that Bellona is either going to be support or solo then, with banning away that jungle option. We've seen a little bit of bats in solo, not so often though. And now it's back to eLevate to choose what they don't want to see from AFK.
And again, Hun Bats, this is, sure, it's just a great jungle pickup. We've seen him more recently. Metheria plays this character a lot as well.
Now that ISIS ban though by eLevate, that tells me that they think AFK is going to run that hi-rez in the solo lane.
Yeah.
Because the only team we've ever seen ISIS play solo ISIS is Xalia. And that's on the other side of the concept. Maybe Cyclone decided to steal it or use it.
Paradigm. Xalia's not his own team. Although sometimes
he
it seems like
he is his own team.
Cyclone Spin wants to put that one to the test. The Xbalanque going to be picked up for AFK. That will most likely be in the hands of Allied.
Allied's one of these guys, right? When Allied was at LAN last time, he was like sat there going, I don't get it, man. I don't know why nobody picks Xbalanque anymore. Like, he's still good. He's still useful, man. Like, he's safe and he's really effective.
Lifetime stats, this is Allied's most played hunter.
Says it all, doesn't it?
I mean, when I think of Allied, it's funny. Xbalanque is, sure, the People's Vulcan and Freya come to mind a little bit first. But Xbalanque is the true hunter that I think of when it comes to Allied. I mean, you always talk about Allied being not so much in the lane, but in the team fights, and that's exactly what Xbalanque can bring.
A Bakasura lock-in alongside an Ares as well. That Bakasura I feel it's almost flex because that could be run jungle, which we've not seen a Bakasura in the jungle for a while.
Yeah.
But to pick Bakasura before AFK picked theirs, there's one thing to note as well. Cyclone really hates playing against Baka. He's mentioned that before in the past. It's been mentioned by multiple people.
Yep.
He doesn't like facing off against Bakasura. But is Bakasura really strong enough right now is the question. Has eLevate found something to deal with Cyclone?
It seems to me that eLevate is really committed to the fact that this hi-rez is going solo lane, where with the Habwa pickup, one of my personally most played gods, believe it or not. This god, Habwa, he doesn't see a lot of Pro League play. It's been a long time since he's sort of been a staple. And the players that come to mind are largely middle lane players, the best and Lobster. But as we get into the game, we'll be able to confirm, and it is confirmed that Cyclone Spin will be playing Habwa. And the reason we're going to see this in the solo lane is, if you're newer, compare him to Opwash. Extremely high damage, but also extremely vulnerable to the gank.
It's not an awful situation to be against a Bakasura as a Habwa either. You can use the knock-up to disengage yourself. You've also got the wet paper, or the Atlas of the Yellow River, as we used to call it back in the day.
The wet paper.
The wet paper. But that wet paper will slow down and speed yourself up at the same time. And don't forget, if Bakasura regurgitates and tries to all in the Habwa, he can still use the crushing wave to disengage.
Yeah, there's no cripple on because of the ultimate. But that is the only real movement ability that Habwa has to his advantage. So we'll have to see where this sort of goes. Something to note, support player Met Yankee not here today. We're going to see Lefty Syndrome playing your Ares. No idea why.
Honestly, in my eyes, I don't know who Lefty Syndrome is. I'm not going to lie and say I've seen the Challenger Cup because I don't remember that name. Probably a name change because they like to do that, these players. Change their names unless they're in the Pro League. But they'll be stuck with it for a while now, Lefty Syndrome. Good luck with that name. Cyclone did start off, I believe, with a power pot at the beginning of this game, unless he changed his mind.
Cyclone Spin did have the power pot. Yes,
he has got the power pot, did start it off and go, but make sure he stayed in base to make sure he could pick up an extra couple of potions at the beginning of the game.
Fun fact, the SPL normally doesn't allow skins on characters. Habwa, one of the few exceptions. Cyclone Spin not opting to go for it.
Went for the standard choice for the time being, and as you can see what's going to happen for Scary D during the early game. The poke pressure from the knockups that Cyclone can put out will be very, very useful for disengaging him and stopping himself from being able to farm early on.
So Kiki playing this Hades in the mid lane, one thing to note is that the wave clear will just be fantastic. There really is no other god that rivals Hades in that regard.
And it's one of the keys as well, because if you look at it, it's Agni and the Bellona. They may have a little bit of an issue early on trying to contest these mid harpies up against the AFK lineup of Hades and Serqet. So wisely backing away, they're going to drop over and pick up their red buff at the right opportune moment where AFK not looking to invade.
Now, as we take a look at the long lane, that situation of Medusa being pushed under tower, that should quickly change. That acid spray, as it gets leveled up, will really gain dominance over the lane, especially over the Xbalanque, who, I mean, for a long time has really been, that's the story of Xbalanque.
Early gank from Weekend. What a shock. He's over there in the solo lane. This has been the story of AFK season so far. Of camp the solo lane early, get Cyclone big, and Weekend picks up the kill, which isn't a bad thing on a Serqet. We remember that yesterday when we were discussing it. Serqet getting those early couple of kills, it will accelerate her build.
Just going to push her just a little bit sooner, and as you said, the build, that's really what I'm looking for. Levels are nice, but Deathbringer is nicer when it comes to the Serqet.
It was a really early rotation from Weekend again, as we see him rotating to the other side of the map now, looking for more pressure onto the Ares, and Allied's going to find himself an early kill. It's not often we get to say that.
Very important. That was by design. You actually got a chance to see, since we were riding along on the Serqet, the basic attack not come out. Allied secured that kill, gets an early stack on that Xbalanque passive, which is so important.
I mean, it helps him in the early game. If a Xbalanque doesn't get those stacks up by late game, it's not a big issue, but it does allow him to apply more pressure in the lane if he gets stacks early on. The Xbalanque passive is one of those that can be used and abused early game, but in the late game, it doesn't make as much of a difference as you would think if he's not got them.
It winds up being about half an item, or a full item, depending. When you consider the highest physical power on an item flat out is 60 on Shifter Shield, I guess, but really you want to talk about 50 on the Deathbringer. That's 30 with a full stack passive.
It's great.
That's nothing to shake a stick at.
It's great if you can get it off, but if you don't, it's still not a terrible situation. There's a lot of people I always see going, oh, Xbalanque late game, oh, but he's not got his passive stacks. Well, it doesn't really matter. It's still Xbalanque late game, you know? He's going to put out a lot of pressure.
Right?
The extra 30 damage is not going to be the be-all and end-all of the game, but in the early mid-game, it can make a considerable impact.
Well, 3.5 minutes into this one, already off to a bang. Serqet, driven by Weekend, has been all over the map. First blood in solo, second blood in duo lane, all off of the back of that Serqet. So AFK with an early lead here, just about 1,000 plus gold. Middle lane, Theria in the jungle. chased out.
The Ares pick here, I did like the Ares pick, but the problem they're having right now, especially with a lefty syndrome, the problem he's having is that he's behind on an Ares. And it's the classic problem that you see multiple times. The good news is, though, he's still going to be useful up against this Serqet as the game goes on.
Exactly, that's a key point as we see Etheria in a little bit of trouble. Keep in mind the ultimate was just burned to get over the wall, so Cyclone Spin crushes with a wave. Third kill for AFK.
Unfortunate there as well for my theory. He's been a standout player in eLevate for me this whole season so far.
Agreed.
Really showing off the presence he's had from the jungle. And AFK, well, they're recognizing that and managed to find an early kill on him. Will slow him down.
Yeah, I mean, even in the games, well, all of the games that eLevate have played since they've all lost, even in those losing matchups, Etheria has really been that, you know, the Hun Bats games looked like he might have been able to bring it out. Unfortunately, it's a team game, not able to quite do that. But yeah, going back to Lefty Syndrome, don't really know this player or what his playstyle is, but that's the thing with Ares. Ares peels by way of sort of being scary with the damage. If you lack the lead, you're not going to be able to do that. But very important, the cripples on Serqet.
Well, this is the thing, right? Sometimes in the game, if you pick an Ares and you're not against gods that cripples are really, really effective against, like the Giannis's, like the Serqets, then it's going to really fall off as the game goes on. Problem being, though, is that the other rest of the composition here, for example, a big one, Habois, can sit there, and when he sees him just sit in the air with the ultimate, where you can hit him with the knock-up, you can hit him with the splash to the face, and then follow it with the ultimate, and you can kill an Ares very quickly if he's not tanky enough to survive that burst.
Very true. As we take a look at his build, all he really has right now is the Traveler's Shoes. Blink over from Weaken, just enough to scare Scary D out of the way, but Blink is on cooldown.
It's kind of the whole plan from Scary D there. Play the Bakasura, your early game, you expect to be under the tower. Consistently, you're looking to farm up as much as you can and try and get to around level 11 where you really start to have the opportunity to go all in. But against the Habois that's 1-0-1 already, a little bit difficult.
Yeah, Baka wants to force you out of lane so he can take your tower. Kiki in a lot of trouble here. Does have the help of the Athena ultimate. And with that plus the dash, Lord of the Underworld will be safe under tower.
The beads was the big key there from Kiki. If he didn't beads then, he was definitely going to fall down. Just managed to avoid it before the follow-up damage from Agni's bomb came out from Unrelinquished. So gets himself out, but it's a long cooldown.
It's a huge cooldown, over 2 minutes. I want to see eLevate show back up in the mid lane, but for right now, everybody's in the solo lane. Scary D jumps right in place, and Unrelinquished gets the kill onto Weekend with the help from his solo lane Bellona. Cyclone Spin still going in. Ultimate is down. Water Hands is good. And the kill onto Lefty Syndrome is strong. And Cyclone Spin cleans up a second with Etheria. Unrelinquished is still here looking for the kill on Cyclone. He will get it. But will he pay? He will. Incon cleans it up with a swift
He'll get a tower as well, just to add to the fact it was already very, very weak anyway. But you saw the strength of Cyclone then up against Bakasura. And what happened with Ares? Well, Ares got an ultimate off. And what did I say? He just gets free damage off. And it's exactly what happens against him.
I do like that eLevate was able to pick up that kill at first. The second kill on the Cyclone Spin was just sort of, that's what you get for staying in too long.
It was a great rotation.
But the first kill was the important.
It's a big rotation from eLevate where they looked good from that. The problem is that AFK were ready for it.
Yep.
The counter gank was good, and it paid off better for AFK. Take the tower down, extend their gold lead a little bit further, even get on the right and the Harpies as well. Lefts, though, may go to eLevate as they're in a prime position to try and take him if they want to.
Kiki in the middle, staring at 3 members of the opposing force. Not really wanting to go in there. Opposing force, you ever played?
I did a long time ago.
Wow, expecting a no.
It was a while ago, but 3, 1, and 2 on Cyclone Spin. This is the thing with a Habois, right? A lot of people underestimate what kind of god this is.
Right.
He's all in burst damage, but if you get ahead on him, your all in burst damage becomes not all in burst damage. It just becomes you're dead in 2 hits, potentially.
Exactly. I mean, one of the most important things about Habois is that his damage is largely unageable. If you allow me to create a word real quick, the knockup from Water Spout into the ultimate or Water Hands combination, whatever you need, you can't Aegis while in the air. You can't bees while already in the air.
You have to beats before the knockup, and that's really difficult to do. And if you beats early and he doesn't even go for it, you look like an idiot as well. Just to rub it in. He's gone for Bancroft's talent here as we see Kiki under pressure once again in mid lane, choosing to ult here with the Athena on top of him, trying to double the damage down, but well execute timing from Mytheria to Eagles rally in response.
But here comes Weaken, slapped over the wall. Mytheria in a lot of trouble. He'll go down. Will he spread the poison? He does! And Cyclone Spin comes from the back, cleans it up with the water cannon for 2.
In fairness, he spread the poison. I got excited by the poison, but he wasn't going to die until Cyclone came on the back. And the problem is, the Cyclone just got another double. That's 5-1 and 2. And he's nearly finished off Bancrofts already, which is an item you like on Habois because, first of all, gives him sustain. Second of all, when you're low on HP and you're tidal wave, you're going to do even more damage.
It's so much force coming out, and Cyclone's been able to annihilate not just the support, but also take a large chunk out of his direct opponent, Scary D. Chased under the tower. Stop that thought. Cyclone spin. Get a water spout before he even gets there.
Big situation now for the boys of eLevate. Cyclone is just going off right now on the Habois. He's not even gone back to base yet after picking up the first double. He gets his second double very quickly. They're going to get Gold Fury here as well. There's no one really here to contest. Unfortunately for them, Vesalius is not going to be in range to try and do anything, especially with no Petrify.
Almost 10 minutes in here, folks, and AFK has 10 kills over 2 for eLevate, and the gold is telling the same story. 5,000 gold in the league.
He's level 13. What does he go back to buy here as well? Can we just have the items there? He gets a full Bancroft, and he starts work on Book of Thoth by the looks of it. Potentially could go
Book
for
of Thoth or Soul Reaver?
I was going to say potentially Soul Reaver, but I think he'll go Book of Thoth. There's no reason not to.
Just pure straight
Soul
down.
Reaver's great, obviously, overall, because he does the percentage of health, but Book of Thoth continue to scale you up through the game. You're already going to be approaching level 20 very quickly if you keep going at this rate.
I mean, Habois, if he keeps going at this rate, this Habois will be, I mean, you want to talk about hyper carry spiraling out of control. Habois, not a traditional hyper carry, but in this position, able to just annihilate the opposition.
And now you can see the amount of abilities that he's got to rotate around the map with the tier 1 tower being down already in that solo lane. He can transition to mid lane, help provide pressure there, swing back to the solo lane and still farm up and even poke Scary D a little bit more.
A little bit more. Looking directly at him. Opts not to chase as Scary D finds himself where his tower once was, but Incon's Athena took it out so long ago. Just about 7 minutes in.
We might see them go in mid lane. There we go. There's a blink into the taunt, and now Weaken might follow up, but disarmed already. Big no escape coming out as well from Syndrome, but he's in a world of hurt.
Pillar of Agni is going to trap everyone in. Lefty's going nowhere. Matheria might suffer the same consequence, and with 3 members of AFK, he absolutely will. Weaken gets 2 kills in that engagement, and now 10 kills. eLevate Senior AFK looking strong.
Luckily the minions spotted that one out, so well aware in the mid lane is unrelinquished that Cyclone was behind him. Going to put some good poke pressure back onto him. Rotation was available there in the jungle as well for Medusa. Vesalius thought about it and then thought better against it with this Habois knowing he still had ultimate.
It's the small plays here that I like out of Unrelinquished. He uses the bomb because it stutter steps him, making Cyclone Spin's water spout just miss because he was anticipating the move, and then as soon as he knows the water cannon is coming out, dashes, so once again gets out of the way. If that combo would have hit Hinduman, it seems silly, but Habois is so far ahead that that might have been a kill.
I mean, for 12-2 as well, most of the kills have been onto the substitute, I believe, here, but look, by the second Unrelinquished in the mid lane will fall down to Kiki. Scary D trying to do what he can, but he's not got a whole lot of damage. Regurgitate comes out.
Ultimate
good
coming out, though. That's a lot of damage onto Kiki, so cheeky, and he'll fall with the help of the Scourge from Matheria.
Cyclone, though, where is he? He's coming around the back, potentially. He's thinking about, does he have Blink available? He does not. So he's not going to be able to close the gap in time, I feel, before they get away.
Think about that, though. Kiki went down, but it was a 2-on-1, and it wouldn't have been able to happen without 2 members. If that's the case for eLevate, if they have to commit 2 people for 1 kill, that's never a good look.
And after they've done that as well, now they're going to be able to pressure tier 1 tower AFK and pick this one up for free. I don't think anyone's going to come to defend this with Weaken, Incon, and Cyclone all sieging it down and extending the gold lead a little bit more.
Weaken making a rotation to the dual lane. Medusa all by her lonesome. Weaken gonna use Deathbane to go in the opposite direction. Doesn't want to fight the Hunter dead on. Even levels as far as those 2 characters are concerned. Vesalius versus Weaken.
Now the big thing here for eLevate this week, we knew coming into this game it'd be a difficult ask for them to try and win this one against the top contenders AFK, but it's all about trying to take something out of this game and learn from the experience of it. They've got Denial next week to face off against on Saturday, and they'll be looking to that game after facing off against TSM and AFK this week about what they've learned to adapt going forward.
Great taunt coming out of the middle lane, and everyone on AFK is lurking in the jungle. Lefty's gone already. Matheria stuns 4, but he's all by himself. Agni's just a couple of steps behind. Weaken picks up 2 parts of the double kill.
It's the day of the double kills right now. This game is a game of the double kills. I mean, everybody, Cyclone's had how many?
Cyclone has had 3 double kills. Weaken has had 2.
And now over in the right lane, Kiki trading off with Scary D there as well, with Incom coming in with the ultimate just to dunk him down. Scary D gonna fall to the wayside for the third time this game. Had a rough lane. A lot of focus from Weekend, and obviously with a hub war against him, not that easy.
Not easy at all. Weekend, no slouch himself. 516. It's actually my old hometown area code, as well as Zapman's. 516. Nassau Accountant.
I got nothing.
Do you guys have area codes in UK?
Yeah, but they're something different.
Yeah?
Yep.
Well.
Good talk.
Allied looking
I didn't know
strong.
where to go with that one, I'm sorry. I was just like... confused. Cyclone going to get ganked to the right lane though. The chains applied and Cyclone raid boss down, as they like to say sometimes.
So I mean, he was 7-1-4, and a very important part of Smite is you got to play your lead. You got to know how to take advantage of the fact when you're ahead. But you also got to be careful. Play your lead, but don't let your lead play you. At that point, 1v3, Cyclone bit off a little bit more than he can chew. eLevate smartly collapses, takes out the big Habwa.
But it did allow him to go back to base. Maybe wait a faster trip back to finish off that book of Tarthas on there as well. That is completed now. So
listen, I understand giving credit. I understand giving players the benefit of the doubt. I think you're pushing that one just a little
Allied
bit.
getting aggressed on here by Vesalius, who felt himself, but the problem was Income was behind him.
But so is Materia.
Yep.
Here comes Materia with the rest of eLevate in the jungle. Incon in a little bit of trouble
as well, and Weekend
This is a dive. Dive for this eLevate, and they will.
It's not worth. It's not worth because Kiki's here now as well, and with Weekend on the way, this is going to be an awful situation for eLevate. They're all surrounded and being shoot around the map. Petrify onto Weekend. He will get out just.
Unrelinquished is still alive just by the skin of his teeth. I like the decision making from eLevate to go hard right there. Habwa is gone. That's when you make your attack. Right now, Habwa's coming back in the left lane, so you got to run away. But it was unfruitful
Scary.
for eLevate in the left lane.
There's more people coming, Scary. I think he's got himself in a bit of a tricky situation. He thought he could 1v1 Income.
Yeah.
Did not respect who else
Like I
was
said,
around.
you got to get out of there now. But previously, with Cyclone spin down, that's when you hit the gas. I like the decision making. Didn't do well for them, unfortunately, and because of that, AFK will get a kill, and they'll pick up the Gold Fury, putting them even further in the lead. eLevate shows up just a little bit too late to the party, and unfortunately for them, Weekend takes out their Hunter, and that's the first death on Vesalius for this contest.
We're also going to see the support fall down one more time. And Ares wasn't able to survive that pressure we did see in the jungle of My Theory throughout that Scourge to try and defend him. Not enough though, and now we're going to see AFK Siege mid, and there's the aggressive Athena we start to see more and more of once again.
AFK sieging down the mid lane, 16.5 minutes in. Huge lead for AFK, largely off the back of Cyclone Spin just going absolutely ham, just like that, and Weekend being everywhere on the map. I mean, this game started with a kill in the solo lane and then a quick rotation 20 seconds later into the duo lane. That's been the story the entire game. And Weekend is everywhere.
The funny thing about this game as well, this reminds me of last split when we had more of a snowball involved in the game, where a team just takes the early lead, snowballs it right out from underneath you, there's nothing you can do. This season's not like that though, but AFK, they've managed to reproduce that situation.
That's also the nature of the character of Habwa. He is largely feast or famine. Now, you see how crazy Cyclone Spin is going right now. It's very easy to see this 8-2-7 turn into a 2-7-0. Habwa can be very easily shut down, sort of like a hell, but in turn, eLevate not able to do so. So off goes the snow.
But it was a prime opportunity to pick Habwa in this matchup too, because he knew who was against Bakasura. He knew what the jungler was in Bellona. Their pressure to gank him isn't all that much. I mean, like against a Thor, for example, Thor can wall you, so you can't use your ultimate defensively. They can put more pressure on. So he's abused the situation with this Habwa pick. I don't think we'll see it every week now.
No.
But, you know, if the opportunity arises, maybe we'll start seeing more Habwas picked up.
In with the blink, all onto Unrelinquished. He'll fall down to the help of Weekend. Materia also being chased. Kiki Cheeky gonna give up the ghost right there. Vesalius ultimate. Beautiful turnaround from Allied to avoid getting stunned.
Cyclone Sealer.
And the entirety of AFK will push down the left-hand side. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Kiki gets a kill on a Materia without even using the ultimate. Catches two with the Pillar of Agni. Weekend steps back, looking for the re-engage. Not quite going to go for it.
And there's Incom going in with the blink, trying to find it, but instead he actually got hold of Unrelinquished and manages to pick up the kill with the support of Weekend and Kiki in tow as well. Allied's going to seal away the purple buff as the rest of AFK. Well, they're looking to try and close this game out quick because they're going for this 19th minute Phoenix right now.
20 kill lead is all I have to say right now. Just under 19 minutes. AFK playing out of their minds. This is exactly what AFK... You make a game plan, Hindu Man. And a large part of playing Smite is adapting the game plan that you wrote up, because the game never goes the way you plan.
You have to have
time, it did.
You have a rough idea, generally, when you go into a game, what the whole idea is. Are we a counter-initiation team? Are we an early game pressure team?
Right.
Are we a high mobility, whip around the map and try and take towers when they're out of position?
And then as your opponent sort of makes ganks or whatnot, you sort of change your idea.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're still a counter engagement team, but we can't lean on the mid lane anymore. We got to lean on the duo.
He's going to switch it up a little bit. This time, like you said, AFK, they've executed their game plan to the strengths overall. It's been, Hobwa, let's try and get him big early on. How do we do that? Well, we've got Serqet in the jungle. She can just rotate in, bring him over. And then the duo lane, well, they didn't have any issues early on at all. And Kiki, he's playing Hades mid. He's not going to get ganked too often, and if he does, he's very survivable.
Yeah, I mean, as I said in the pick ban phase, 3 for 3 on this character. Pretty sure he's looking to make this into the 4th win out of 4 picks. In comes Incon, blink onto Vesalius, who has been playing rather safe, but even still suffers to make that 3 deaths today.
That was brutal. In the jungle, though, Cyclone's coming around the back here as they're looking for aggression onto Weaken. Cyclone's considering rotating around. He may be able to get a big crushing wave off here. Instead, he's going to knock through the wall of the spout. Will he go in with the paper? Yes, he will. Going to get more damage off on Scary D's Incon on the front line, zoning them away by Theria, surrounded by multiple members. And still has his ultimate, though, but he won't get a chance to use it because...
Water Cannon is hitting like an absolute monster right now. There's so much magical power on this Hobwa, and so that Water Cannon, it's a short cooldown, high damage ability. The sort of downside to it is that you have to be in melee range. When you're this far ahead, it doesn't really matter. Counter engagement coming out of eLevate. They've got Incon with the chains. Allied going to be not pulled in because of a good Aegis, but Cyclone Spin shows up on the backside to secure the deal.
And now we're going to see them look for the other pickup as well on to Scary D, who falls down to Allied. And there's not much these two can do to defend this Phoenix right now as they're up against the whole team. Meanwhile, we can split push into victory at a tier 2 tower in the right lane.
Allied with the 409 looking very good in his leather jacket from Baby Gap, if you saw the tweet earlier from Omega. Little throwback picture of Allied in the olden days. Very, very fun stuff. They used to play on a team together, actually.
It's a good performance from AFK, this, for me. I feel like from the moment this has come out, I know this should be expected to be eLevate, but it's just showing the strength of this team through and through, and why people are considering them to be #1 in North America right now. I mean, the consistency throughout this game, the drops in kills, if you notice it was on a heavy gank on Kiki where he fell, but they traded that one out. The pick onto Weaken, well, we saw Cyclone get a double kill off that. And obviously Cyclone's fallen twice by being so aggressive because he can be, because he's so big.
Exactly, and I alluded to this yesterday, but sure, AFK is 6-0 and eLevate is the opposite, 0-6. And it's one of these, you're making a face, cut me off.
I'm making a face because Cyclone Spin, he went back, I thought he was going to finish Soul Reaver, and just bought a straight run into Hui.
He's got that much money.
That's disgusting.
That's a money.
That's an expensive item.
$33.50.
Very expensive. And he's just gone back, full bought it on one trip. Good night, sweet eLevate. Let's go on to game 2 because Cyclone could get a penta.
Yeah, I mean, I
can feel a penta potential just based off that.
This is the scary moment. Hobwa, the water cannon will hit for about 40% plus of most of these characters' HP pool, and it's on a 3-second cooldown.
Well, what you'll be seeing from AFK then is hoping, well, Cyclone will be hoping there'll be a big AoE team fight so he can just crush everybody at the same time.
Yep.
But at the moment, eLevate have split up. The Phoenix is about to respawn in middle lane. AFK not even looking for the Fire Giant yet. I think they're going to look for this mid Phoenix one more time.
Kiki and Incon leading the charge. Very, very chunky are these two characters. Kiki itemizing into that Warlock Sash will make the naturally tanky Hades even more so, with a big boon of HP. Incon obviously in the Guardian role, building very, very tanky, looking to be that front line presence with both the Heart Ward and the Sovereignty to help his team out. Taunt onto the only member of eLevate, stuck in the middle, is unrelinquished. He's gone.
2-shot. That was pretty much 2-shot there by Cyclone. He did have support to get there. Scary does not have beads right now. He used them a second earlier, so he will get potentially pulled all the way in and executed. Allied with the credit. Around the back, though, is a reinforcements, but Cyclone, well, he's going to end up killing off that Ares.
Vesalius does get credit for it, but all the while, Cyclone Spin picking up 1, Cyclone picking up 2, Cyclone Spin looking for the 3rd. opting to play the smart card and not go into the tower.
Oh, that's a knockup.
Oh, there it is.
Cannon tidal wave is available. Should be his death. Nope, won't be. But the Titan should fall any moment as Allied is still doing work to it. They really would love to kill Mytheria. But this game, well, from the outset, AFK set up at a very high pace and end it in under 25 minutes.
Titan inevitably going to go down, trying to get the kill on Ethereum first. AFK takes this one fantastically well, very, very well executed by the only undefeated North American squad.
Only undefeated for the time being, but I mean, to be fair, the way that game went, I didn't expect them to this week, but I don't see eLevate being able to stop AFK in the second game.
No.
Hopefully, though, they can get off to a better start at least. I mean, early on, the picks and bans seemed okay for them from what I saw. Maybe the Bakasura was a little bit suspect, but then again, so was the Habois, and that one worked out.
I do think that eLevate needs to forget this one. I think that eLevate has a lot of talent possibly in the bank. Can they beat AFK is a tall question, but can they look cleaner than this time? I definitely think so, and this is what we were talking about. Everything started off with Weaken in the solo lane. Now, we just got to see the first blood, but the important part that I liked about that...
the whole map.
Yeah, it was 25 seconds. 25 seconds till Weaken made it to the dual lane.
And gave Allied a kill as well, which just set up everybody on the map pretty much. Dual lane behind, solo lane behind, junglers like, what do? Mid lane's like, well, I'm against the Hades guys, I ain't going to be rotating anytime soon. And it just set AFK up to just continue the pressure for the game.
Yeah, so without a doubt, Weaken player of the game. Very excited that we get to pick Weaken because Cyclone Spin is the one that showed up on the scoreboard, but almost everything was set up by the fact that Weaken was just omnipresent, all over everywhere.
Completely agree with the choice onto Weaken here. He was involved in this game from the very moment it began and just set his team up. We mentioned it a second ago after the first blood, and he was in the fights. He wasn't scared of staying in deep if he needed to, and he set his team up to be able to just decimate.
It's funny. Weaken actually gets a lot of flack from the fans for not really showing up on the scoreboard. And you see what he usually plays: gods like Odin and setup-oriented gods. Serqet, not really the one you think about when it comes to setting things up for your team, but really, really doing the utility for Cyclone Spin.
Most people don't remember your average games. They remember your bad games. They remember your good games. Your average ones, if you've just played average and your team wins, they're not going to talk about you. If you play bad, you're going to get stick.
It's important to know that Weaken /line was very strong here. Not to say that it just wasn't the 11-2 or the 13-2 that Cyclone Spin wound up with.
It's kind of what's supposed to happen.
Exactly.
But game 2 from eLevate this time round, I expect to see a similar sort of bans and pigs situation. Maybe not try and take away the Geb from Incon. It's not really going to matter.